Am I a criminal for being born this way? Is my existence a sin? Why do you look through me like I'm a ghost, recoil as if I'm a monster from some distant realm? Every averted eye, every hushed slur, every door slammed in my face, it's a dagger twisting in my soul. It's not just wrong, it's a relentless crucifixion of my spirit. I've tasted rejection's bitter sting in playgrounds and boardrooms, watched dreams shatter, all for this body I didn't choose. Please, open your heart. See me, not my disability. Let my story mend us, not divide. Listen with empathy, feel my humanity. My name is Joy, and I was born with a disability that left me crippled from birth. My legs, twisted and frail, branded me with misery and pain before I could even speak. At 5, I glimpsed the world's brutal truth, a cold, indifferent place that sneered at my suffering, mocking my every faltering step. My parents, oh, how they fought for me. They poured their hearts into a desperate hunt for a cure, dragging me through endless hospital corridors, their eyes alight with fragile hope. Mom still chokes up recalling that first sign, my leg, limp and lifeless at 2 months old. The hospital's sterile walls echoed with the doctor's crushing words, a diagnosis that shattered their dreams. They didn't surrender, though. They scraped by, selling what little we had, leaning on friends when pride broke, chasing whispers of miracles across cities. But each door slammed shut, leaving us with the unbearable. I'd never walk, never be fixed. Then came the world's venom. At 5, I saw it, people's stares, sharp as blades, their whispers slicing through my fragile spirit. School was a war zone. Classmates jeered, mimicking my limp with cruel giggles, hurling insults that seared into my soul. I was the outsider, drowning in their laughter, each taunt a weight pulling me under. Yet, in that darkness, there was Mark, my anchor, my light. His steady voice cut through the noise, his faith in me a lifeline when I wanted to give up. With him, I clawed my way forward, pouring my rage and hurt into my studies. I graduated, triumphant, my grades a defiant scream against their scorn. But now, university looms, a shadowed peak I must climb. Can I face it? Will they see me, or just my disability? The fear grips me, but I've survived worse. What comes next? After a year of relentless preparation, I applied to study pharmacy at the university, my heart hammering with equal parts hope and dread. My entrance exam scores gleamed like a beacon of triumph, proof of my unyielding resolve. Wheeling into the admissions office, my mother's trembling hand rested on my shoulder, a fragile anchor. Then, the officer's icy gaze swept over me. "We can't accept you," he declared, his tone a guillotine. "Your disability, you can't join our mandatory Saturday exercises. There's no place for you." The rejection hit like a thunderclap, stealing my breath. My mother's gasp echoed in the suffocating silence as rage and grief clawed at my chest. I'd battled my whole life to be more than my wheelchair, and now this, judged not for my intellect, but my body. Tears threatened, but I swallowed them, fists clenched until my nails bit flesh. They wouldn't see me crack. I'd find another path, force open another door, make them choke on their dismissal. Yet, as we rolled away, a crushing doubt lingered like a shadow. Would anyone ever truly see me? The fight wasn't over, I'd prove them wrong, or die trying. As we wheeled out of that cold, sterile hallway, the sting of rejection sank deep into my bones. My mum's hand trembled on my shoulder, her grip unsteady. I looked up, and my chest cracked open, tears poured down her face, each one a silent scream of grief and fury. She tried to smile, but it crumbled, her lips quivering. "Don't worry, Joy," she choked, her voice raw and thick. "You're too good for them." Those words hit me like a lifeline tossed into a storm. Too good for them. Rage flared, how could they dismiss me, my mind, my fight, just because of this chair? Sorrow gnawed at me, but beneath it, a spark flickered. Her tears weren't just pain, they were defiance, a mirror to every wall I'd faced. I wouldn't shatter. Not now. I'd claw my way up, make them see me, really see me. They thought they'd dimmed my light. They'd only ignited my fire. The ride home was a suffocating void, the silence between my mother and me heavier than the rejection letter crumpled in my lap. Her hands gripped the wheel, white-knuckled, while I stared out the window, my chest tight, my body a traitor. Not enough. Too broken. The words carved themselves into my skull, a relentless chant that drowned out everything else. By the time we got home, I was a ghost, wheeling to my room and slamming the door on the world. Darkness became my cocoon. I curled into it, the bed swallowing me as depression sank its claws deep. My legs, useless as always, felt like anchors, dragging me under. Food turned to ash in my mouth. I stopped eating, stopped caring. Sleep was a war I lost every night, the university's cold dismissal replaying like a broken record. You can't. My body followed my mind's collapse, fever burned through me, my limbs heavy, my breath shallow. I was fading, and part of me didn't fight it. What's the point? I'd whisper to the shadows, my voice cracking, my worth crumbling to dust. My mother wouldn't let me go. She'd hover by my bed, her voice soft but firm, a lifeline I didn't want. Joy, please, take your meds, she'd beg, pressing pills into my trembling hands. I'd resist, my anger a jagged edge, but she'd hold me, her warmth seeping through my clammy skin. You're my miracle, she'd say, her eyes glistening, forcing me to swallow through my sobs. Some days, she'd wheel me outside, the sun blinding, the air too alive. I hated it, the chatter, the birds, the world that didn't want me. But she persisted, her love a quiet storm, pulling me back inch by inch from the abyss I'd built. That night, the fever burned through me, but it was the emptiness in my soul that kept me awake. I was a shell, my wheelchair a prison, my dreams crumbling like ash. Then, through the paper-thin walls, a sound pierced my haze, a sound that ripped me open and changed everything. My parents' voices, soft but jagged with pain, seeped into my room. My mother's cries were stifled, desperate, and my father, my unshakable, steady father, was weeping. I'd never heard him like that, his voice trembling as he whispered, I'd take it all from her if I could. Her pain, her struggle, I'd carry it in a second. My mother choked out, we're losing her, and I can't stop it. Their words weren't just sounds, they were knives, carving into me. I saw it then, their faces in my mind, etched with grief, eyes hollow from sleepless nights, hands helpless against my suffering. They weren't just sad, they were breaking. Because of me. Because they couldn't fix what my body had stolen. I lay there, tears scalding my cheeks, not for my own misery but for theirs. They'd given me everything, love, hope, endless fights with doctors and schools, and I'd been too lost to see it. Their pain was a mirror, reflecting a truth I couldn't ignore. If I let myself drown, I'd drag them under too. I couldn't do that to them. I wouldn't. The next morning, I woke up with a fire I thought I'd lost. My body ached, my legs useless, but my heart pounded with something new, determination. I wheeled to the mirror, my face pale, my eyes fierce. Dressing was slow, each button a battle one, and when I rolled into the kitchen, my mother gasped, her coffee cup trembling in her hands. Joy, she breathed, fear and hope warring in her voice. I'm checking the other schools I applied to, I said, my voice firm despite the tremor in my chest. There might still be hope. My father froze, his newspaper crumpling in his grip. Then his hand found my shoulder, squeezing tight, his eyes shining with a quiet, fierce pride. That's my girl, he murmured, and that was enough to keep me going. The days that followed were a storm of suspense, phone calls that went nowhere, emails met with silence. Each no was a gut punch, but my father was there, steady as ever. He'd sit with me, poring over options, his voice calm when mine shook. We'll find a way, Joy. Together. My mother hovered, her nervous energy a constant hum, but her hugs were anchors. Then, one grey afternoon, the phone rang. My mother answered, her face tight with caution. I watched, breath trapped, as her eyes widened, a smile breaking through like sunlight. Joy, it's Crestwood University, she whispered, thrusting the phone at me. My hands shook as I took it. Ms. Joy, the voice said, warm and sure, we're offering you a spot in our pharmacy program. We see your strength, and we'll make this work for you. The room spun. Tears fell, mine, my mother's, and my father pulled us both into his arms, his laughter rough with relief. I'd done it. For them. For me. Even then, the venom at Crestwood was palpable. They didn't want me to graduate, classmates, professors, even the walls seemed to hiss it. A girl in a wheelchair daring to chase pharmacy? Why not home economics? They'd sneer, their voices dripping with pity so sharp it cut. Or just sit at home, Joy, let your family carry you. The words haunted me, slithering into my dreams. Why did I even dream of financial independence? I'd whisper into the dark, my hands gripping the wheelchair's rims until my knuckles whitened, trembling with a fury I couldn't unleash. The discrimination was a beast, relentless and cruel. Oh God, I've suffered, I'd cry, wheeling into the chapel's shadowed silence, the creak of my chair a jagged prayer. Why are institutions so hell-bent on breaking us? No answer came, just the wind rattling the stained glass, mocking my tears. Yet, I pressed on, my textbooks a shield, my faith a flickering flame. I studied like my life depended on it, because it did. Every exam was a battlefield, every grade a defiance of their doubts. Anita was my anchor. From that first chaotic day, her smile sliced through my fear, her eyes seeing me, not the chair. By first year's end, we were roommates, inseparable, class, church, meals, all of it together. She'd grip my hand when despair loomed, her voice fierce, Joy, they don't get to win. But the exclusion stung. No party invites, no social circles, just us, a duo against their silent rejection. It's because of me, I'd mutter, guilt clawing my chest. Anita's scoff was a whip crack. I'd rather be with you than those shallow fools, she'd say, her loyalty a lifeline. I'd beg her to live her own life, but she'd refuse, her NO a thunderclap, her presence unshakable. My parents' visits were a balm, food, laughter, pride shining in their eyes as my grades soared. Anita's family folded me into their warmth, and a few neighbors, mostly guys, offered rare kindness, their chatter a fleeting escape. But the pressure never eased. Exams were brutal, yet Anita and I topped every list. Classmates gaped, whispering, how, as if my success was a scandal. Some lecturers softened, their gruff encouragement, keep pushing, Joy a spark in the gloom. Then came the ambush. Second year, a clique petitioned to expel me, their words a knife, her disability disrupts us. The dean's office was a trap, his voice oily, maybe pharmacy isn't for you. My heart slammed against my ribs, the room spinning. Outside, their smirks waited to feast on my ruin. But I straightened, my voice steel, I've earned this. He faltered, and I won, for now. The war raged on, but I stood taller, my resolve a blade forged in their fire. They didn't break, they can't. One night, the robbery slammed into us like a freight train. Anita and I were buried in textbooks, the night pulsing with cricket song, when the door exploded inward, wood shards flying. 3 masked figures stormed our room, their shadows twisting in the dim, flickering light. My heart stopped, my wheelchair locking me in place as they towered over us. Anita's scream sliced the air, jagged and raw, as they seized her, smashing her against the wall with brutal hands. I lunged forward, or tried to, but a shove sent my chair spinning, crashing into the desk. Pain flared in my ribs, but the real agony was the helplessness, watching them tear through our world, pocketing our money, shredding our peace. They left us in wreckage. Anita crumpled, sobbing, her cheek blooming with bruises. I wheeled to her, my hands shaking, tears scalding my face. We held each other, fragile but unbroken, as silence swallowed the chaos. The university's response was a gut punch, security barely glanced at us, their shrugs dismissing my chair like it was the problem. Our parents roared in, fury blazing. Mom's voice trembled with rage, Anita's dad demanded blood. The school board squirmed under the pressure, moving us to a safer dorm and tossing us a few replacements for what was stolen. It wasn't enough, the fear clung like damp rot, but we refused to let it win. They won't take our hope, Anita rasped, her eyes fierce. I nodded, my spine steeling. Final year was a crucible. Practicals twisted my nerves into knots, presentations made my voice quake, and exams bled into sleepless marathons. The weight crushed down, relentless, but Anita and I fought as one. We'd study until the sky lightened, her words a lifeline, Joy, we're unstoppable. And we were. Graduation hit like a thunderbolt, our names rang out, grades soaring, the crowd erupting. Mom danced like a storm, wild and uncontainable, shouting my praises until her voice cracked. Anita's family hollered, their pride shaking the air. Against every blow, every sneer, every theft of body and soul, we'd triumphed. Then came the job, a lifeline from a top-tier pharmacy. Your talent shines, Joy, the director said, her eyes warm. The lab became my haven, pipettes clicking, formulas unfolding, purpose steadying my hands. Anita nabbed her dream gig too, her smile a sunrise. Love crept in there, quiet and sure, through a colleague whose gentle strength really saw me. Our connection sparked, deep and alive. Now, I'm married, my husband's laugh a daily spark. We have 3 kids, their voices a riot of joy in our home. I'm proud of the scars, the battles, the life I clawed from despair. My wheelchair rolls on, no longer a prison but a throne. They tried to bury me, but I rose higher, fiercer, free. That's my victory. My dear friends, today I want to reach into the depths of your hearts with a message that burns brightly within me, a message born from struggle, tempered by perseverance, and illuminated by hope. Life is a wild, unpredictable journey, a winding road littered with obstacles that test our courage and shake our spirits. Yet, it's in these very moments of darkness, when the weight of the world presses down, that we uncover the extraordinary strength buried within us. I stand before you not just as someone who has faced storms, but as living proof that the human spirit can rise above any challenge. No matter how fierce the winds blow, you have the power to stand tall, to endure, to triumph. Let me take you back to a chapter of my own story, one that began in the shadows. As a child, I was born with a disability that confined me to a wheelchair, a reality that invited mockery and isolation from a world quick to judge what it couldn't understand. The taunts of others were a constant echo, chipping away at my sense of worth, until despair felt like an old friend. But then came a turning point, the unwavering love of my parents and the fierce loyalty of a friend named Anita. They saw beyond my limitations, wrapping me in a cocoon of belief when I couldn't muster it myself. Their support became my lifeline, teaching me that even in our deepest struggles, there are hands reaching out to lift us up. This is the magic of connection, it reminds us we're never truly alone. From that crucible of pain, I learned a lesson that I carry like a torch. Resilience isn't a solitary battle, it's a shared victory. Every tear, every doubt, every fall is a chance to rise stronger, not in spite of our hardships, but because of them. Think of the lotus flower, blooming radiant and pure from the murkiest waters. Your struggles are not here to break you but to shape you into something magnificent. This is the educational heartbeat of my story. Embrace your challenges as sculptors of your soul. Let them ignite a fire within you, a blaze of determination that no setback can extinguish. You are not defined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond. So, how do you nurture this unbreakable spirit? Start where you stand, with steps small enough to take today. Set goals that nudge you past your fears, and celebrate every inch of progress. Those tiny wins are the building blocks of greatness. Surround yourself with people who see your light, who fan your flames when they flicker. Make gratitude your daily ritual, for in counting your blessings, you invite more into your life. And when the load feels too heavy, don't be afraid to reach out. True strength lies in the courage to say, I need help. These are not just suggestions, they're lifelines to the resilient, radiant person you're meant to be. As I stand here now, a graduate, a wife, a mother of 3, I am a testament to dreams unbound by circumstance. My path was steep, paved with tears and doubts, but every step was worth it because it led me to a life of thriving, not just surviving. And you, my friend, can do the same. Let this sink into your bones. You are capable, you are worthy, you are unstoppable. The world may try to dim your shine, but you are a force too powerful to be contained. Your story isn't over, it's just beginning. So rise, shine, and let your light blaze a trail through the darkness. You've got this.